Your company is amazing. It's creative, it's very productive, it's known in all of Jordan. What was the idea behind it? What was the inspiration that you guys had before you started it? Like, what made you start this company?
Just a little background on us. Mish and I, we met pretty much at your age at school. And we both took our passions and wanted to put them together after university, after you go through that whole growth experience. And we wanted to do something that we can feel proud of as an energetic Arab brand. What this brand was going to look like, what it was going to do, we weren't really sure at the time. We just, the mission was something that people can feel proud of and they can feel like they can belong to it. So that was the inspiration behind Jubal.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the day we actually first started talking about Jubadu. We met up in a cafe and me and Tamer were talking about how can we really put our impact on the world? How can we make something that made people feel that they belong to a bigger picture? And I know it's very wishy-washy what I'm talking about now, but we had to find a starting point. And a starting point in the beginning was, let's start with t-shirts. T-shirts is our fun, cool product to release. We love wearing t-shirts, and it's the easiest thing we can put out there. And the t-shirt itself is a way it's a non-verbal way of communicating with people. And it sort of walks around and it shows what we were trying to do, the bigger picture of what we were trying to do in a self-moving advertising, if you want to call it that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
هذا جو بيدو اسم كثير حلو. Why did you choose Joe Bedu as the name? What was the point behind the logo having camel?
The Jobedu name and the logo is representing our realities at the time. When we started Jobedu, we started it with $4,000, and we both had day jobs, and we were just committed on making the most out of nothing. But it was about resource optimization, if you will. Jobedu, we felt we can extract a business model from how resourceful and innovative the Bedouin culture is. We felt like instead of getting a business model from the West, we can find a homegrown business model, and which is based on how to make the most out of nothing. We felt we were mimicking the same model and the same mindset and the thought process of the Bedouins. Every time when we started, we used to go to Jara. How can we fit all this inventory into one car? And how does the booth look like? And how can we optimize the shape of the booth so that it can fit in the car with the bdah? We felt like our mindset and how we always thought of the best way of doing the most out of nothing mimicked the thought process of the Bedouins. And we thought it would be a great message to put into our name, because the way we are growing organically, grassroots with the people, it feels as accommodating and as hospitable as the Bedouin culture as well.
When we first started, the first 2 years of Jubadu, we didn't have a store. We were actually working in Tamer's parents' basement. And everything was in boxes, and every day after our 9 to 5, we'd run to Tamer's parents' house and we'd count t-shirts, put them together. People would call us and we'd end up going and selling t-shirts from the back seats of our cars, literally. And then when Jara came along, Jara was a fun experience for us. It was a way for us to really experience having a store and interacting with customers. So we were moving a lot on the road in the beginning, and we felt that was relevant to the whole being nomadic, being Bedouin, being mobile at all times, and just moving around and opening a shop here and just starting to sell. The name was coined, honestly, like we just randomly came together, and we wanted to mean something. We want the word Jubadu to mean what we want it to mean. It really doesn't, it was an invented word. It didn't really was based on structure or anything. We're like, well, let's start a business, it's called Jubadu. So, and then we just pretty much took it from there.
You entered a market that was not popular at the time. And what were the issues that you faced when you first opened?
Do we have
Issues and
12 hours?
challenges.
The issues was at every corner and every turn. Issues was in us not knowing the legal infrastructure of opening a business in Jordan. And we got a few surprises along the way. And I can share a very small example is we opened the company, but we didn't have a store because we couldn't afford a store. So when we did open a store, we paid penalties for 3 years worth of rukhas mihan.
That tells you how flexible our system is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we opened the store and we paid all our money just as penalties. Let's talk about the market. The market, we didn't really have a problem because it was such a shocking idea that we were even shocked at the public response. So, and that was the biggest motivator to come back next year and to work out of our cars and to work 17 hours a day was the response that we got from people. It showed that we kind of made a promise to people by just being there the first time, and we needed to keep with that promise of always delivering cool. And it got us to think creatively about how can we always deliver this.
So brand expectations. I mean, when people first interacted with Jabadu, they saw us in Souq Jara and they got really excited about the idea. But as a business, it was still very small. So people's expectations were higher than the actual performance of the business. So we faced the first obstacle of how do we tell people that we're not that big yet, and we don't have any stores, and yet they see us as a very strong brand because we came in with a very strong branding from the beginning. Other problems we faced were understanding legal structures and how things work. For example, when the whole Gaza issue happened, we wanted to release a t-shirt related to Gaza. And we've sort of met an obstacle there legally, and we had to find a way around it. But we ended up losing some t-shirts. We ended up feeling scared at some point because, what happens if we release this t-shirt? Is somebody going to knock on our doors? But at the end of the day, we decided to do it because the t-shirt was for a good cause.
كان التيشيرتس تبعونكم كثير كرييتيف والباكات تبعتهم كثير حلوه. What's the process of choosing a new t-shirt? Coming up with a new joke. How do you do it?
When we first started, it was just us. In that time when we sat at that cafe, we came up with 43 ideas, and we decided to do 6 of them. And then on that day, when we started at Jara, there was another person that was doing t-shirts, 2 guys from Germany. It was a collaboration between a German artist and a Jordanian artist, Ismam Bluzat. Their artwork was phenomenal. We were looking at them and saying, why are we constraining ourselves into we want to do stuff when we can open, and in Jobedu, the whole concept of Jobedu is opening it up to people. We decided we want to work with as many creative artists as we can, مش بس بالأردن, in the region as well. So we feel like every artist that joins Jobedu adds their own flavor to the brand, their own style, and they're different lens and different perspective. And artists, what they do is they express stuff on our behalf. They appeal to a market, to audiences that share the same mindset. So the more artists we work with, the bigger our audience. This is how we come up with the ideas, is by building a brand that attracts this creative talent.
Our role is becoming a little bit different. As the more Jobedu matures. In the beginning, زي ما Tamer حكى, we were creating designs. But then we decided to really open it up and to crowdsource the designs. So our role became more into writing the brief of the direction of designs that we're looking for. For example, one of our collections is called Mixtape, and that's a music-based series of designs that are on t-shirts, hoodies, and other stuff. Another one is called طفولتي اليابانية, my Japanese childhood. When we grew up back in the 80s and 90s, a lot of the cartoons that we used to watch on TV were Grandizer or Captain Majid. We felt that we shared a Japanese childhood that was dubbed in Arabic, and we created a collection for it, and a lot of cool t-shirts came out of that. Another collection we have is فرطت من الضحك, FMT, FM6. And these collections are actually open for anyone. They can come to our website. We have a section called Create. Create, any person with very good quality design skills can go up there and just upload a design to any one of these collections. Recently, when we first started Joe Bedu, we used to pay 100 JDs per design. And throughout the years, it's progressed. And the amount of money we pay for each design has increased, alhamdulillah, which is good. Because we want to empower these designers. We want the creative community to have a platform to express their creativity. At the same time, we want it to be sustainable for them. We don't want them to just come create ideas and walk away. We want them to have some sort of financial reward for contributing and exploding Arabic pop culture.
You both have a great friendship. Did that affect your business in any way?
It built a stronger business because our friendship wasn't based on ego. Our friendship is based on understanding each other. It's based on knowing what the other wants. They're both their personal and business and professional aspirations, and we work together on realizing them. We have a very civil way of discussing matters at hand. We have a system in place for if a crisis happens, how do we handle crisis together? And it's evolved. I've known Micheall since the 10th grade, but I feel like in the past 7 years we've really understood each other. And 10th grade was in 97. Yeah.
I think partnership is a complement towards friendship. If you have a strong basis for friendship, a partnership is only a byproduct of it. Me and Tamer, during high school, we felt that we shared a lot of interests. Part of it was performing music, a little bit of art. We had very similar friends. We always shared the same interest. But when we grew up and we managed to build a partnership, we shared the same mission. And that, at the end of the day, was what made sure that when we did have a crisis, as long as it's good for Joe Bedu and good for our friendship, this is how we resolve our issues. Yes, there were arguments. Yes, there were problems. But with every union or relationship, there's always an issue. But it's about finding the way to get out of it. And to really, and at the end of the day, if you respect the other person, no issues should arise.
Joe Bedu is developing quickly. How do you see Joe Bedu in the next 5 to 10 years?
Good question.
Scary question.
Yeah. When we started Souq Jara. Now Joe Bedu is available in 10 countries in the region. And from our online store, we ship internationally. We feel like we are light years away from realizing the full dream of Joe Bedu. Right now what we're working on is releasing a whole bunch of products. Joe Bedu is a t-shirt brand, حاليا, but we're really a creative brand. So what we're working on is providing all these artists with different canvases, t-shirt being one of them, but we're gonna be expanding into other different things that people can look at it and act creatively upon it. This is gonna be our focus, and to expand our distribution a lot more within these 10 countries and add some countries along the way.
So if you're going to expand, what are the different ways that you're going to expand?
Okay, it's right now you go through a process with business, which is you start off wanting to do everything, and then you learn you come to accept your strengths, and you come to find people, whether in your company or outside, that complement your strengths, and complement your weaknesses, if you will. فإحنا حاليا we've built a distribution network through other distributors. We work with like-minded people who share a mission for Joe Bedu's, and they believe in the brand and where it can go, and they're working day in, day out in their respective territories to increase our distribution.
Because when we first started, it was a cycle. I think we used to have the whole 1 year length in our mind. When we ordered t-shirts, when Suq Jara started, when Hada, and then we'd come back the next year and Suq Jara would start again. And it became like we had that cycle view of things, the year. For year on year, the idea was, okay, what happened last year? How can we make it better next year? You know what I mean? And what challenges did we face? How can we overcome them? What cool ideas do we want to do? I think in 5 years, we are definitely going to be more connected with our community. This is a direction, this is a trend that has been starting from day one. And every year we understand that it's very important more to integrate more with people, whether they're customers, whether they're employees, whether they're design community, the creative community, any community out there. And part of our mission is to really create awareness for these people and to help them build revenue models around their lifestyle. Because the problem in our world is art is not appreciated. Music is not as appreciated as the rest of the world. It's part of our mission to really celebrate these champions who are creating new culture, who are exciting people about being Arab.
And you know, one of the coolest things that we were able to do is growing up, and I'm sure you guys still go through this, is a lot of the culture that you consume on a daily basis is imported. But whether it's music, whether it's clothes, whether it's movies, shows. But when we started in 2007, Joe Bedu started exporting culture. And it was not exporting Joe Bedu's culture, it was exporting your culture. The people's culture, Arab culture. But this is something that we're very proud of. And this is why something happened in 2007, ما بعرف, if planets were aligned in a weird way, but other people that we didn't know started coming into this scene. You started seeing people like Autostrad, Jadal, Murabba. Murabba came later. But people doing music, Salalim in Egypt. These people did not know each other, but for some reason in 2007, it's like we all said, you know what, we're fed up with just having to be the audience, we want to be the creators. And different people started exploring different mediums. Kharabish came to life. And they started producing shows, they started producing cartoons, Tilfaz 11 in Saudi. And it became a movement. It's an unstructured movement. We didn't all talk to each other and say, listen guys, we had a conference and we said, yes, we will do this. It just happened organically, it happened naturally, and it came out of the expression, the want of expression. And thankfully to us, to all of us, there was an audience at the other side, which is something we assumed never existed. We always assumed that our role is to consume, and their role is to create, as in the West. But we were wrong, because most of our online sales to the United States aren't مش العرب. They are to Americans, Ajanib. Same thing to Canada, same thing to Germany, Australia. So there is an audience on the other side that is curious about us. And we've actually made this a fact, and this is what we're proud of.
After you developed this idea and you started your business, did you find that there were more competitors now than there were before?
Competition is inevitable.
Yeah.
Every year we've faced new competitors, we face competitors that have always been there, and we face the, yalla, I really want to open a t-shirt store competitor. Unfortunately, competition is healthy. It helps us stay on our toes, it helps us push the barriers, it helps us get out of our comfort zone. But we enjoy being, facing competitors. Plus we get a thrill out of going after them. But at the end of the day, in any business, if it's successful, if something's working out, people will compete. People will come in and they'll want to step in and take a share of that market. And it's healthy because it keeps the strongest person surviving the longest. We've been in business for 7 years. Clearly we're doing something right. This is why we've managed to stay in business for the past 7 years. Most of our competitors end up leaving, or they shut down 2 to 3 years after they start the business.
And إحنا كمان how we learn the business, you also learn how to compete. Your first competitor, you're not going to sleep at night. You're going to be worried about your livelihood. You're going to be worried about your idea. But if you learn how to overcome that fear and kind of go revise your your strengths, your weakness, the opportunities you have, and your positioning, and you successfully do that, your next competitor is going to be more of routine. You see, you know, okay, this competitor, their positioning is this, their strength is this, they are in this market. What's my strength in this market? Do I want to enter this market? Yes. Then how can I enhance my image in this market? If not, halal عليه. فمثلا if a competitor, if someone does t-shirts in Bolivia, we're halal عليه, we're not really interested there. But there are many different kinds of competitors, and you know, knowing how to segment competitors. You have, زي ما ميشيل حكى, you have the competitors that think it's about putting a design on a t-shirt وببيع and زبطت مع جبدو هتظبط معي. Then they realize that there's this wicked thing called sizes. You have to know how many smalls, mediums, large, and where to want to order, and inventory management, and I get the label from this guy, and I need to get the shoe from this guy, and how am I going to keep control? And then the accountant comes and says, how did you do this, that? Then they just throw in the hat and they give up. So these are the competitors that come and kind of stir things in the market for a good 3-4 months, and each one of them teaches us something new.
Another thing about competition is, you know, we've always had our doors open for competitors to come and talk to us. And we're not the type of people who hold grudges or ما بدنا نحكي معهم وخلاص. It's black and white. لا, we were always very open with them. حتى the guys Tamer mentioned, Bluzat, after they shut down their store, they felt that they were more into the art scene than they were into the management scene and the business side of things. And they knocked on our doors one day and they're like, guys, we want to work with you. And we're like, بالعكس, you guys inspire us. We like your stuff. We've always liked your stuff. And we'd like to actually feature you at Bedu. So we gave them one of our stores for like a week. They changed, you know, the whole interior. They made it back into how their store sort of used to look like. They added their touch. And we created a series of t-shirts for them that we released. And it was an event. And their community came in. And even the barrier with their community that they had with Bedu was neutralized. And زي ما Tamer حكى, it built on our strengths. We are a very collaborative brand. We managed to take a competitor and welcome him to come work with us, and re-release them, and everybody wins at the end of the day.
Okay, حكيتوا إنه you want to take the idea internationally, the USA or Germany. So how would you do that with the jokes being related to our local community? Or would you think about taking or expanding into different jokes into that are related to different communities?
هلا احنا 80% هلا when we first started our first 6 designs, 4 of them were very local centric, very Jordan centric. Then we made a conscious decision to change that, because we don't want to focus on stuff that divide us. This is one of our main values. We don't want to focus on designs that place people in bubbles. بالعكس, we want to make designs that appeal to the greater Arab audience, something that binds us together. Because at the end of the day, if in this room the empty seats was filled with people from Egypt, Lebanon, Saudi, Kulna, we're all going to understand each other. We create these barriers on ourselves. Bedu, we have designers that design stuff that appeals to the Egyptian audience. We have Egyptian designers designing stuff that appeals to the Saudi audience. Right now, 90% of our designs are pan-Arab. The designs that are being bought from the West are mostly calligraphy designs. And stuff, يعني مثلا في عنا t-shirt اسمه hipster basha, which is طربوش, glasses, and shawarib. And the West loves it. To them, the طربوش icon means a lot, and they relate to it, especially with the whole hipster movement. It's appealing with the current designs, and we have a lot of designers that are focusing on just visual designs. There's no joke there, but it's a visual representation of the beauty of Arab aesthetic. And those are designs that we would go internationally with. And
in today's world, where everybody's connected, everything is online, happening at a zillion miles per hour, the common culture is becoming easier between يعني Jordanians, Lebanese, Egyptian. They're sharing the same content. They're looking at the same stuff. But there is a common youth culture. We want to build off that. We want to find the connective tissue that exists there. And we want to sort of empower that so that when you guys travel to Washington, for example, and you're wearing a Jabadu t-shirt, and you will, and somebody from Egypt, for example, sees you, he'll be able to relate. It's an easier way to break the barrier between you, instead of wearing something that is just very Jordanian, that only Jordanians would understand, for example.
If you could go back in time and change anything that you did or do anything differently, what would it be?
You can't. That's one of the things you need to, hatta as people, there is nothing you can change in the past, because if you change anything in the past, you wouldn't have learned from your mistakes. We always say Jobedu today is the aggregate of errors. The sum of all mistakes that we've done since day one is what we are today. It's not a success. Success, we see success builds your ego and confidence, but mistakes and errors builds a solid foundation for growth. It's what builds growth. You don't grow when you succeed, you grow when you make a mistake and you get up again. The fact that Jobedu is growing, that means we made the right mistakes not to kill us.
Can we open now for questions and answers, please?
Okay. هلا من questions من the audience. هل حابب يسأل سؤال؟
Hadith.
حديث.
Mike.
You might.
You've talked about various things that have helped you to succeed. In your opinion, what is the key to success? In my opinion, in every business, there is this factor that pushes you forward. What is your factor of success or key to success?
The most important factor is get out of your comfort zone. The second you start to feel comfortable, you're going to get lazy, and it's just not going to, the magic is not going to happen. For comfort zone, you should always be looking out and pushing yourself to keep your foot in the door, to make sure that you're not comfortable, your team is not comfortable, and that you're always pushing the limit to a higher level. There were, in 2008, we probably saw the least amount of competitors out there. We just had one at the time. And we felt that we had a very strong presence in the market. And at some point, we started to get lazy. And we woke up about it. And we're like, we can't be lazy. We can't afford to be lazy. This is a startup. We need to push ourselves. We need to push the limit. So we sort of developed we're the number two mentality. And we just got ourselves out of the comfort zone.
Any other questions? Yes, Lina.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My question is, do you ever consider designing anything other than t-shirts or hoodies that have a similar design or concept?
Yes, this is what we're working on right now. Jobedu is a creative brand, not a t-shirt brand, so we need to show the people that we design a lot more things than t-shirts. Right now, our posters are growing. Our poster portfolio is increasing. We're also looking to releasing a whole bunch of products. 2014, 2015, it's going to look way different.
And sometimes we design other products, but they're soft products or they're intangible products. For example, content. Content is something that we work a lot on. What we share on Facebook, what we share on YouTube, on Vimeo, on all these websites, is actually what I'm trying to say here is that the way we communicate with people is sometimes considered another product that we design. It's actually harder because it requires us to understand what people like, what they don't like, and what sort of gets them excited. It's just like selling a t-shirt at the end of the day, but it's content.
I think I have a question. Do you always wear your t-shirts every day, even if you're...
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Even if you're going to a wedding?
Um,
I mean, are you a moving commercial for your t-shirts, or what does it feel like? If you want to wear, you walk up today and you want to wear the regular polo shirt, what?
I don't think we own them.
You never did, huh?
I have one shirt in my closet.
No, it's suits are worn on official occasions. But yeah, mostly we're in Jobedu gear because one thing, you have to live the life.
Yeah.
You have to live your brand. Part of it is always product development. If we're not wearing our t-shirts all the time, we don't know how you're going to feel when you wear them. We always like to see how things fit on other people, because it's a custom-made brand, and we pay attention to quality. It was horrible when we first started. We learned so much, and it's helped us perfect the t-shirt. I know t-shirts are very simple, but sometimes, when you wear a t-shirt and you say, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. There's actually a mathematical equation that will tell you why it doesn't feel right. It's because, مثلا, في شيء اسمه the golden rule between the shoulders and the chest, and this is what makes a baggy t-shirt versus a fitted t-shirt. But إحنا as consumer, I don't know, it feels weird. This feels weird has a scientific reason behind it, and we're always seeking that. And other than that, they're really cool t-shirts, so we like wearing them. And we get to enjoy wearing the awesome designs of people. We're proud of it.
And it starts to become an art. I mean, you start to match the right t-shirt to what you're doing today or where you're going today. And that becomes how both Tamer's wife and my wife, when they saw our closets full with 400 t-shirts, they're like, okay, wait. I'm not doing the laundry first. And I guess, we do wear other t-shirts, to be honest with you. There's a lot of t-shirt brands that inspire us, you know what I mean? And we like to buy their stuff, get to test their quality, and just seek out inspiration, if you want to call it that.
Okay. Any more questions? Anan.
Hello. Good morning, Sanat Farhan Safashir. Mr. Micheall, I learned that your family owns a clothing business. Did that in any way inspire you to create Joe Bedu's t-shirts and ideas?
Yes, there was a connection, definitely. My family started a company called CJC in 1949. One of my first jobs was in CJC. So we did have some sort of retail background and manufacturing background. It did help us pass a lot of the shortcuts, especially with the know-how, especially with finding the right suppliers in the beginning and working with the right people. I wasn't passionate about the family business, to be honest with you. I worked there and I didn't connect with it. I didn't feel that the values were the same. With Bedu, it wasn't about opening stores and selling t-shirts, you know what I mean? And I sort of felt that with CJC. It's about sales, it's about producing, it's about يلا افتح محلات وخلي الناس تيجي تشتري. Bedu, there's a deeper meaning to it. It's about empowering culture. It's about empowering people to express something that they're really proud about at the end of the day. And that sort of was more of a connection for me than opening stores. But yes, there was a connection, and it did help us out a lot. And in the start of any business, you need to really look at your support group and say, how can I use this? And for us, luckily, in the beginning, CJC was there the first year for us. We said, how can we use CJC to make this business work? And we did.
اوكي احنا صراحه صرنا شوي behind time بس اخر شيء حبيت نحكي عنه what would be your advice لنا كلنا هلا right here what would be one advice تعطينا اياها انه our future.
Keep an open mind. You never know what opportunities is lying right in front of you, but into you've closed, you have the horse thing, and you're not even looking at the opportunities around you. And appreciate each other's strengths, try to know each other, because you might be business partners one day, and you want to make sure that you know the person you're getting into business with. So it's not just about, well, I hang out on Friday and or it's Thursday, whatever, and we play basketball. Yalla, let's make a business. You need to know what's ish khamet the person next to you, and sometimes it might be someone in your circle group. Sometimes someone from another clique complements your skills, and you can make something amazing. So don't close yourself off in cliques and groups. You might be in together, just like a compound, neutrons, electrons, كل شيء, something big happens, it's right here in the room.
Find something that you're passionate about doing, find a way to make money from it, and then let it kill you. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so
You've been a great inspiration, I guess.